I'm back with another round of 5 ingredient recipes to save you time and money. We're sticking with the theme, simple, reliable, actually doable on the weeknight. These recipes are appetizers, but they can be snacks, dinner, that's totally up to you. First up, we have a sweet potato chicken quesadilla, and then we're gonna make a crispy asparagus dipper, which sound fancy, but they really aren't, but they are so good. And I'll even include 2 quick and easy dipping sauces for them that are also 5 ingredients or less. Let's get to it. Oh my God. Starting with the sweet potato chicken quesadilla. For this one, you'll need 1 sweet potato, 1 can of black beans, 4 tortillas, 2 chicken breasts, and about a cup of shredded cheese. That's it. Start by peeling and cubing the sweet potato. It doesn't have to be perfect cubes, but the smaller the pieces, the quicker they boil. Add them to a pot of water. You can boil potatoes from cold. You don't have to wait for the water to boil. It'll save you some time. This will take around 10 to 15 minutes. Just test it with a fork as you're doing it. While that's boiling, let's add the chicken to another pot and fill it with water, making sure the chicken is totally covered. I'm using the entire package, but you only need 2. But you can prep the chicken now and have more later in the week and use it for other dishes. Add a generous amount of salt and let that come to a boil as well. Once that's boiling, drop it down to medium-low and let it simmer for anywhere between 8 and 10 minutes, depending on how much chicken and water there is. Just a note to skim the top of that white stuff known as scum, which is just a collection of coagulated protein called albumin, which is also in eggs, so don't worry, it's totally normal. If you decide to cover the pot like I did on occasion, just know that it might boil over, so be careful. And lastly, if you have a really big piece of chicken, just cut them in half so it'll poach at a similar time as the rest of the pieces. Let's check back on the potatoes. That took 12 minutes and it's fork tender and soft, so I'll drain it and put it back into the pot and mash it up. I have a masher and a potato ricer, and you can use either, but I got this ricer so I need to keep using it so my wife doesn't keep wondering why I bought it. This really works incredibly well. I find the texture to be really velvety and smooth, but you can keep it a little chunky so long as it's spreadable. Now back to the chicken. Let's remove the meat from the water and let it sit for a minute. Now you've got options for shredding. 2 forks work great and give you that nice pulled texture, and you can use your hands if it's cool enough, but it's currently not. Or, if you got the time, toss it in a stand mixer with a paddle attachment. It'll shred it up in seconds. Or, let's be honest, you can just cut this up too. No one is judging. I'm going to use my forks. Let's fork this chicken up. I should tell you that I did try to use regular mashed potatoes when making this recipe, but usually you add butter, sour cream, and a lot of spices, and I was trying to keep this down to 5 ingredients, and plain mashed potatoes are really heavy and dense, and it just didn't feel right. So that's why I tried it with sweet potatoes. And the same goes for the chicken and even the beans. You can always add a ton more spices to the chicken and beans, but my goal here was to bring it down to the basics and have it still taste great. And anything you add, like butter to the sweet potatoes, or chili powder to the beans or chicken, or even topping it off with pickled onions, only enhance this simple but great dish. Okay, so let's get to those beans. I'll crack open up a can and drain them into a bowl and keep the liquid for now. I'll heat up a nonstick pan over medium heat. Give it a generous spray of oil or even a nice dollop of oil. Using fat is a great way to bring out the flavor in the beans and keeping things from sticking. Add the beans and let it cook in the pan for a minute using the back of your spatula to mash it up slowly. Don't salt it yet. You're going for a rough refried texture, not a puree. Just enough to make them spreadable. I'm adding some of that black bean liquid near the end of my 3-minute cooking time, and then I'm adding a little bit more right at the end to keep things smooth, because that stuff is pretty salty, so I would hold off on salting anything. Now with that done, we want to warm up my tortillas on the stove, one at a time. This helps them soften up, and you should use your hands if you can. It's very authentic. There are 2 ways to set up a quesadilla. I'll show you both ways. The first way is to spread it over the entire tortilla. I'm going to spread a layer of sweet mashed potatoes, then a bit of mashed beans, and then sprinkle on some chicken, and now the cheese. And before you ask, Alex, is this the best cheese I should use for this? And I say, the best cheese is the cheese you have. I'm using Mexican 3-blend cheese, and it's great, but there's other soft cheeses like just pepper jack, mozzarella, Colby, Havarti. But by all means, try different cheeses. Anyway, top with the second tortilla and gently press it all down. Now let's move this one to the side. The second way is to just use half and fold it over. These are usually done with really big tortillas, but the benefit of doing a half version is I find that they're easier to flip while they're in the skillet, which I'll show you. I'll finish up by adding the beans, chicken, and cheese, folding it over and pressing it down. Now that they're ready, let's heat up the skillet over medium and add a spray of oil. Let that warm up and add the quesadilla for about a minute or two until the cheese melts and the bottom crisps up. Keep an eye on it. Flip it carefully and toast the other side for a minute or two. Let's carefully move that off the pan and onto a plate or a cutting board. Next, I'll add the half tortilla and do the same thing. Move it around with my hand for a more even toast on the tortilla, and like I said, I find it easier to flip when it's time, but it does leave a hinge in the middle, so I just pick it up and hold it up and skate it around the pan to toast it up nicely. They cook up really quickly. Now look at all these quesadillas. With a pizza cutter or a knife, whatever you choose, slice into wedges if you're going for an appetizer, or even eat a half a quesadilla if you want. You can top them with a bit of sour cream or hot sauce. Sometimes I think food is just an excuse to eat hot sauce, but that's it. They're sweet, salty, gooey, and very filling. Thanks for letting me share something a little different when it comes to quesadillas. Up next, we're doing some crispy asparagus dippers. They're a little bit party, a little bit fancy, but still just 5 ingredients. Let's get to it. You'll need asparagus, 4 sheets of phyllo dough, about 4 ounces or 120 grams of freshly grated Parmesan cheese, a quarter cup or 60 grams of melted butter, and some salt. Let's start by prepping a few things. Preheat the oven to 425 degrees, melt butter in the microwave, and bring a large pot of water to boil and prepare an ice bath. Start with the asparagus. You can trim the woody ends off the asparagus by snapping them near the bottom, and they'll usually break where they need to, or just take a knife, line them up, and chop off the bottoms. Then place the spears into boiling water and blanch them quickly. This should only take about 2 to 3 minutes. Pull them out gently and drop them on the ice bath to stop the cooking process. This keeps them bright green and a little firm. After resting the ice for up to 30 seconds, take them out and let them dry on some paper towels. Now for the phyllo. I like to remove the 4 sheets I'm using and put back the rest into the fridge and freezer. Phyllo shouldn't be exposed to too much air as they can dry out quickly, so you can always cover it with a damp towel if you plan to double the recipe. I like using 2 sheets at a time for more stability and begin by brushing just the top side lightly with melted butter, starting from the middle of the phyllo sheet and working outward. The sheets are delicate, so this prevents it from ripping. Take your time and dab some melted butter to ensure you cover the entire sheet. Then, cut it into 9 rectangles, basically a tic-tac-toe board, 2 cuts going down and 2 across. Take 1 asparagus spear, place it at the bottom of the rectangle, sprinkle on some grated Parmesan and a pinch of salt, and roll it up. I'm not rushing through this so not to tear the phyllo too much, if at all. I'm going to seal this one up now with a little dab of melted butter on top, but you can roll them all up and seal them once you're done. I haven't used phyllo much until I started making these, and it's a real treat. I'm excited to share a few more recipes with phyllo. I absolutely love baklava. Anyway, these are a big hit when I've made them, so keep going until you've used all the phyllo or all your asparagus, or you run out of patience, whichever comes first. I'm going to seal these edges up with a little butter and then place them on the baking sheet. Optional but helpful, you can cover the asparagus tips with foil so that they don't burn. But I like to live dangerously, so I didn't bother. Don't forget to dabble a little more butter and sprinkle a little extra cheese on top if you want them extra golden. Bake for about 10 to 12 minutes or until they are nice and crispy. And what you get are crunchy, cheesy, buttery dippers with a tender green center. They're perfect on their own, but let's be honest, dipping sauces make everything better. So here are 2 up to 5 ingredient dipping sauces that you can whip up to go with them. The first one is a quick honey mustard dipping sauce, and I'm going to squeeze into a bowl 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of honey, 1 tablespoon of plain Greek yogurt, you can use mayo as well, and a splash of lemon juice. Sprinkle in some salt and mix it all together and add as much water as you want to make it into a sauce. Don't forget to taste it and adjust that taste, perhaps a little more salt, more honey, but it's a sweet, sharp, creamy addition, great with the Parmesan and asparagus combo. Next is a simple herb cream cheese, which is put together like the first sauce. Add 4 ounces or about a half a cup of softened cream cheese, then chop up some parsley or dill and add it to the cream cheese, and then squeeze in a nice splash of lemon juice and a little bit of water or milk to thin it out. I happen to use both, and of course, salt if necessary. It's more of a spread than a dip depending on how much milk or water you add, but if you like that sort of bagel brunch style schmear sauce thing, this works beautifully. There you go, 2 more 5-ingredient recipes. One's warm and cheesy, and the other one's crispy and snackable, plus 2 dipping sauces. Hit that subscribe button, it really helps me out, and I'll see you in the next one.